Welcome to Talking Trash with Ken Russell here. New podcast at Miami Community Newspapers, and brought to you by nobody but my wife, because we don't have any sponsors yet. So clearly she's the only one paying the bills at this moment. Go see her down at South Miami Animal Hospital, best vet in town, Dr. B. So, hey, Michael, how you doing?
Hey, good, Ken. Thanks for being here, man.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for opening up the studio.
And we're all looking forward to this, for you to share some wisdom and some comedic activity. I do want to point out to people that you recently rebuilt your old Volvo. How old was that? What year was that?
It was in 1965.
And you rebuilt it?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
We'll call it rebuilding.
Right.
Yeah.
And then for lots of folks that don't know, there's a camera on me right over there. You're like a world-ranked champion yo-yoer.
Used to be.
Used to be.
Yeah, I'm a lot of used to be's.
All right.
Yeah.
Would they call it yo-yoing or yo-yoer? What was it called?
Yes, it's playing the yo-yo. It's like an instrument, yes.
And in one of the videos, I'm sure it's on YouTube, people, one of the top guys his house is inside it are hundreds of yo-yos.
Sure. Lucky Meisenheimer. He's actually a doctor, a dentist, I think, up in Orlando, and he's just a yo-yo fanatic.
And he's a collector.
He's converted his house into a museum, yes.
Yeah, just incredible. I watched it. Can people get it on YouTube?
Yes,
okay.
yes.
And what's it under?
You'd have to look up Ken Russell yo-yo documentary. Yeah.
Very good. All right. And you looked younger with longer hair.
It was a long time. It was 20 years ago. Yeah. So I don't know what this podcast is going to be. It could be between two Aricas, I think, instead of between two ferns. But I really like to focus on the environment. So if your audience is into it, I spent a lot of time in my formative years of politics and post-politics now working on environmental issues.
Miami commissioner.
Yeah.
And for Congress.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Ran for, yes. Ran away from is more like it. But everything I've always done has seemed to focus, for some reason or other, on the environment. It wasn't necessarily by design, but that's what got me into politics, contaminated park in front of my house. And that's what I worked on.
5 or 6 years ago, I remember watching you on Facebook, and you had your iPhone going. I think you had the stick and showing in a park. You were showing all the things that were going on in the park, and I think to the water line, if I remember correctly. So you've been involved in green activities for years. You also do work with the Sierra Club.
Yes, I do now. Yep.
Good for you. I mean that, and we understand that if we don't have people standing up for the trees, and we're going to talk about trees, I guess, in a minute, who else is going to do it? Because lots of other people just soon cut them down. So I know there was an event yesterday in Coconut Grove.
Yes, the King Mango Strut. And did you go?
I did go.
You didn't go. See, some people go, they don't go. This was the best year of the King Mango Strut I've been to in years. And it's just a very ragtag motley crew of Grovites who throw together a rebellious parody parade once a year, right at the beginning of every year. It always focuses around New Year's. It used to be around the King Orange, the big Miami parade, that they weren't allowed to go to. They tried to do an entry and they were denied. And so they created their own kind of jokingly angry parade, which has now culminated in a massive display, tens of thousands of people watching, and it's just it's so unrehearsed and raw, but it's poking fun at all of the things that have happened in politics and
certainly the last couple of years.
Yes. And they're very irreverent. There really are no rules except for no sponsorships and no plugging of things and stuff like that. But there's a lot of political messages and for my sake, a lot of environmental messages, a lot of folks there that really care about the environment. If you haven't seen the King Mango Strut, here's a little clip of a group that I was working together with where we killed the Lorax. I brought the world's largest production chainsaw and cranked it up. And in front of these children, we murdered the Lorax, basically. And this was to protest a City of Miami ordinance that's being proposed right now that would basically eradicate all of the tree protections in the City of Miami. I mean, it's a horrible ordinance, and you'd think everybody knows about it, but they don't. And so we used humor, and of course the trees then fight back and win, which is what we hope happens when the ordinance comes to the dais once again. But we also had QR codes, and this Miami Chainsaw Massacre got a few hundred folks signed up for the petition so that they know about what's going on with this ordinance and can hopefully protest it.
And so tell us about the group that put this together.
Well, this wasn't the official Sierra Club entry. There was one in the parade as well, but this was a group of folks, Urban Paradise Guild, a lot of folks you may know that are advocacy groups around the environment who've been actually working on this ordinance issue. And they formed a separate WhatsApp group just for the King Mango Strut to kind of put together the costumes and the concept.
It must feel really good to think of that, go do it, because there's a certain excitement and adrenaline rush in being able to do that.
And alcohol, yes.
Yeah, and alcohol. Yes. And be able to like get your gumption up, say, yes, this makes sense, this is good, and to be able to demonstrate, hey, we're frustrated, and we want more people to do it. So I assume that this group and a lot of other groups are going to be at the City Miami Commission meeting when this is discussed again.
Yes, on the 23rd of January here, the city's meant to take it up. Commissioner Gabella is bringing an ordinance which we think may or may not be actually crafted by unregistered lobbyists for the world of development. Because basically, even though it's called a tree protection ordinance and preservation ordinance, all it does is loosen the regulations around tree permitting so that pretty much anyone in the city can kill any tree they want without any permit or any mitigation fees. That's basically what it does.
That's sort of like taking us back about 30, 40 years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, the current ordinance is actually one that I sponsored when I was a commissioner a few years back, and it was hell to pass. I mean, we really had to get a consensus of a pretty conservative group of commissioners to pass a very robust tree ordinance, which is what we have right now. And people might say, oh, well, we still see too many trees coming down, from development, and et cetera, so there must be a problem with the ordinance. Imagine what it would be if the ordinance didn't exist.
I've got to go. You're going to take it off, and you're going to have a good time. Lorenzo's over there, and you might want to jump in. Mr. Russell.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Must be a great interview when my guest just runs away in the middle. I mean, guys, I don't know what this is going to be. This is a trash talk with Ken Russell, and we're going to talk about environmental issues. And yes, as full disclosure, I am working for the Sierra Club right now. They are a nonprofit nationwide conservation group. And right now we're working on things like this tree ordinance. The city of Miami is also considering getting rid of all recycling. And the Miami-Dade County is planning to build the country's largest garbage incinerator, the largest emitter of CO2 in the county it'll probably be. And we're working on all these issues, not just as traditional climate activists and pitchforks raised and torches lit, but really trying to find a more nuanced way of activism, which really educates policymakers, creates awareness with the public, uses fun, humor, and of course, again, education to hopefully turn those votes in the right direction and those budgets in the right direction to make decisions that benefit our planet and not the other way around, or not the opposite. So we hope to see what comes of at least these three issues in the coming months, and I'll be here working on this show and keeping you apprised, but also introducing you a lot of people that are in this sphere, not just in the fight on the environmental side, but also folks who are on the policymaking side, the budgeting side, the educational side, and see what sort of meetings of the minds we can have. So I hope you guys will tune in, and I'm not going to sit here and talk to myself because that's not the interview you guys want to see. So, all right, signing out. First episode. Take care, guys.